The idea that the CIA ran secret mind control experiments was treated as an insane conspiracy theory of paranoiacs up until 1995. That year, President Clinton issued a formal apology on behalf of the US government, revealing that the speculations weren't just morbid fantasies of unstable individuals. In fact, the experiments even had an official name, Project MK Ultra. In reality, the CIA was experimenting on US citizens from 1950 until 1973, using drugs, electronics, hypnosis, verbal and sexual abuse, as well as torture, to conduct behavioral experiments on unlucky subjects. Over 100 projects of this kind were run in over 80 different institutions, including prisons, hospitals, pharmaceutical companies, and even universities. CIA Director Richard Helms destroyed most of the documents, which left a lot of what was actually happening a mystery. However, a lot of the information about this horrific project was brought to the surface with the Freedom of Information Act in 1977. The fact that no one has yet been punished for the committed crimes shows just how entangled the power play connected to this conspiracy actually is. There were many actual and many rumored attempts of assassinating Hitler during World War II, but a particular one made July 20th, 1944, a historical date. The conspiracy is remembered in history as Operation Valkyrie. The goal of the operation was to kill Hitler and his two right-hand men, Göring and Himmler. The plot was to use the continuity of government proceedings during an assassination on Hitler's life to take over full control of the government in Germany and subsequently blame the coup on the Nazi SS. Plans were set into motion with the recruitment of Colonel Klaus von Stauffenberg, who successfully infiltrated the highest ranks, getting promoted to attending military strategy meetings with Hitler himself. Stauffenberg carried a briefcase bomb with him and considered taking the chance several times, but backed out each time because not all of his targets were present. On July 20th, he finally took his chance and exploded the bomb inside Hitler's conference room using a remote detonator. Unfortunately, Hitler survived with only minor injuries. As a result, Stauffenberg and many of his fellow conspirators were executed. It's no secret that politics are a dirty game, but elaborate conspiracies, when they are true, are usually very well hidden. It's a rare occasion that a government plot is revealed to the public. One such conspiracy existed in the 60s, and its goal was to provoke a war with Cuba. America's top military leaders joined forces in coming up with a plan which would support a war against Cuba, but involve fake acts of terrorism on US soil, which would take a devastating number of innocent lives. There are existing and available documents which show that chiefs of staff of the US military had an elaborate plan of shooting civilians in the streets of Washington, D.C. and Miami, to name a few places. Bombings would be initiated and innocent people would be framed and found guilty of these acts of terrorism. An elaborate plan was created on how to stage a devastating incident in which it would seem as if a Cuban aircraft shot down a plane full of college students. Fidel Castro and Cuban refugees would be implicated, and thus a war would be justified. Luckily, President Kennedy rejected these plans. Unfortunately, sometimes it happens that conspiracy theories about medication spreading disease aren't just plots of Hollywood movies or TV shows. A turn of events revealed a horrid truth in the United States. Close to 100 million Americans fell victim to vaccines containing cancer-causing viruses. Information about polio vaccines tainted with the simian virus 40 was available on the CDC website for a short period of time, before it was suddenly removed. The simian virus 40 is a virus found in some species of monkey. It's a polyoma virus, which can be found in humans as well, where it is considered a potential cause of tumors, although it remains a latent infection in most cases. The discovery of this virus led to a big reveal. It turned out that around 90% of children and 60% of adults in the USA were treated with SV40 contaminated polio vaccines, and thus put at risk of developing tumors. The 1919 World Series are known in history as the scene of the Black Sox scandal. The Chicago White Sox created the biggest scandal in baseball history when they intentionally lost against the Cincinnati Reds. 8 White Sox players lost the game on purpose, working with gamblers for profit. The club owner Charles Korniski was known for underpaying his players and forbidding them from switching teams via strict contracts. This is what allegedly drove the players to look for a different way to earn money. 8 players were accused of plotting together with gamblers, although it remains uncertain to which extent each of the players was involved. The White Sox threw the game on purpose, but the conspiracy was soon brought to light, and the players faced trial. Although the 8 accused players weren't punished by law, they were all banned from playing professional baseball. Over the years, many have been very suspicious of the government, and the CIA is often a subject of conspiracy theories. Every once in a while, it is revealed that one of the alleged conspiracies is actually true. A prime example of this is the so-called Operation Mockingbird. This top-secret project was launched by the CIA with the goal of buying influence and control over major media outlets. It was with the Cold War underway that the CIA decided that control of the media would be a great weapon. Journalists were to be put on CIA payroll, and although it is yet to be proven, many insist that this is still going on today. The list of appointed agents included journalists from ABC, NBC, CBS, Time, Newsweek, and Copley News Service. The CIA had successfully infiltrated the nation's business, media, and universities with thousands of operatives. The project ended with the scandalous reveal, or so we're told. Pulitzer Prize Award winner Gary Webb is a journalist who gained prominence by exposing the CIA's involvement with cocaine trafficking. He was working with LAPD narcotics officer turned whistleblower Michael Rupert and the CIA contractor pilot Terry Reid. Webb's controversial piece entitled Dark Alliance was the most talked about piece of journalism in 1996 and the most infamous article of the decade. Webb revealed to the nation and to the world that the Reagan administration and the CIA were involved in cocaine trafficking in Central America. According to Webb, the government had been crafting in the trade of drugs. The money earned was used to fund the Contra rebels during the war in Nicaragua. The Contras were rebel groups active in the 80s and 90s. In the early stages of the war, the Contras were openly funded by the US government. After the involvement of the US was banned by Congress, the government eventually had to find an alternative way of funding the cause. The CIA had yet another controversial project in the 60s and 70s. Secretly, the agency was developing the heart attack gun. Taxpayer money was secretly used to develop this unbelievable weapon. Its existence was revealed in 1975 during a hearing committee led by Frank Church. At the hearing, Church actually presented the CIA's top secret weapon. The gun is electrically powered by a battery and fires a bullet of frozen water mixed with shellfish toxin. Once the bullet enters the target, it melts without a trace, except for a small red mark on the victim at the point of entry to the body. The bullet affects the body in such a way that the official cause of death of the victim is always ruled as a heart attack. The weapon was developed in order to allow CIA to commit assassinations that could never be traced back to them. This enabled the CIA to murder a number of people, with the deaths seemingly being innocent. Many believe that the weapon is still being used today. In 1994, the Wright Laboratory, part of the US Air Force, produced a 3-page proposal for a project with the draft name Gay Bomb. Wright Lab requested a 6-year, $7.5 million grant to produce a wide range of non-lethal weapons. These scientists developed an idea which would allegedly turn all enemy soldiers into homosexuals. They wanted to create a bomb that contained chemicals which would make the soldiers affected by them irresistibly attracted to one another. The theory was that this would be a huge distraction for the soldiers and render them incapable of proper combat. This outlandish idea was just one in the line of many other questionable ideas, such as the bad breath bomb and bombs designed to attract swarms of stinging insects. The Pentagon stated that they were interested in the development of non-lethal weapons, but the project in question was never approved. The notorious Order of the Illuminati is not fictional as many today think. It was a secret society founded in 1776 in Ingolstadt by Adam Weishaupt. Weishaupt was the first lay professor of canon law at the University of Ingolstadt. The Illuminati movement consisted of free thinkers, secularists, liberals, Republicans, and pro-feminists. The members were recruited in the Masonic lodges of Germany with the goal of opposing superstition, religious influence, and state power. In 1785, the order was infiltrated by government agents and allegedly broken down. Action was taken against the secret society for fear of them succeeding in overthrowing the monarchy and state religion. In the 18th century, it was suspected that the Illuminati was still operational, and they were blamed for the French Revolution and the Reign of Terror. The Illuminati were accused of being revolutionists who were attempting to secretly orchestrate a world revolution in order to spread the ideals of the Enlightenment. Amongst those ideals are anti-monarchism and an anti-patriarchy. Since then, a number of influential people have claimed that the government never fully succeeded in breaking down the Illuminati, and that they are still operating. Numerous conspiracy theories are ongoing, and many people believe that the Illuminati have great control over the world even today.